Welcome to the Deep Dive,
Yeah.
where we unpack complex ideas and surprising facts, basically trying to give you a shortcut to being truly well-informed.
That's the idea.
And today, we're taking a swing, you could say, into a really unique world, the annual Baboon Arse Golf Society Tournament, BAG-S for short.
Yep, Bag S. Specifically, the 2025 event at Lingfield Park.
Exactly. We've got a stack of fascinating insights into this event, its history, its unforgettable characters, all pulled from the source material you've shared.
That's right. So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive is to guide you through the rich tapestry of the Bag S Tour.
Try and understand the unique camaraderie, maybe.
Yeah, understand what defines it, and perhaps even spot a dark horse contender for that coveted jacket.
And we're pulling insights directly from the tournament docs and player profiles, right?
Straight from the source, yeah.
Okay. But before we dive right into the competition itself, we really should pause for a moment. A bit of quiet reflection.
Ah, yes. For Vic Peachum.
The Baboon Arse Golf Society recently lost one of its cherished Hall of Fame members, Vic Peachum, right at the end of 2024.
Yeah, a real blow to the society. He was, by all accounts, a true legend.
Absolutely loved his many tours with the Baboons, didn't he?
He really did. And what's truly fascinating, I think, is the depth of his dedication. You know, the story about him flying back.
From Portugal, mid-holiday.
Yeah, in 2011.
Yeah.
Just because he didn't want to miss the Bag S Tour. That's commitment.
Wow. That really says something.
It does. And apparently, even towards the end, he'd often talk about the golf weekend, really longed for the chance to play again.
But his health just wouldn't allow it.
Sadly not, but, you know, we're sure he'll be looking down over this weekend.
Yeah. I expect a drink or two will be raised him at the bar.
Definitely.
Rest in peace, Vic Peachum.
Oh.
Okay, let's unpack the tournament itself then. Lingfield Park this year.
Back at Lingfield, it holds a pretty special place in the Baboons' history, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Long and illustrious, you might say. It's famous for, well, Captain Wheeler's playoff victory over Baker in 2013, for one.
Right, that was a big one.
But also for, shall we say, other memorable incidents.
Ah, yes. You mean Gary Toomey's, failing sphincter incident?
That's the one. Resulted in some, well, rather unsavory droppings around the bar area, apparently.
And Barry having to rescue his brand new diesel jeans from the gents.
He did. Even washed them in his room, the story goes.
Indeed. Truly memorable moments in society lore, part of the character.
Definitely. So this year, lots of the usual suspects are back, all trying to win that jacket.
Desperately trying, yes. But we are missing a couple of the longer-serving baboons this time.
Ooh, who's that?
Chris Beard and his mate Rodney Robinson, you know the one they sometimes call Elon Musk?
Ah, right. So they're not making it this year.
Seems not. Both unable to attend.
Okay, so what does this all mean for the 2025 tour? Let's talk contenders, maybe the teams.
Good idea. And maybe just quickly explain the handicap thing for listeners less familiar.
Oh, yeah, good point. So the handicap in golf, it basically levels the playing field. A lower number means a better golfer, essentially.
Right. So it lets players of, you know, different abilities compete fairly against each other, which is key for a society like Bags.
Exactly. Okay, so 2 teams this year. Team 1 is led by Brad Wheeler,
Handicap 16, captain for the second time.
and he's looking to complete a double over those rivals from Computer Center.
That's the narrative after that crushing playoff win over Baxter back here at Lingfield in 2013.
And also hoping to follow up his son's recent success in a junior tournament. The Mustard, was it?
That's the one.
Yeah.
So, you know, family pride on the line too, maybe.
Given his history at this specific course and that family success, he's got to be a strong candidate, surely.
You'd think so. Experience counts here. But he's definitely not alone in the talent pool.
No. Who else is looking sharp?
Well, Paul Baker, handicap 5, very low handicap.
Comes to Lingfield in fine fettle is the description.
Yeah.
After an extensive body overhaul.
Apparently so. At some exclusive boot camp with his famous wife, Veruca Salt.
Veruca Salt,
Yeah.
the singer.
Well, the profile mentions his child actress bride singing, I want a party. I want a party with pink macaroons. You know the one.
A million balloons and performing baboons.
Right.
And he's described as very much under the thumb.
Seems to be the suggestion, yeah. Quite the character description.
That is quite the pre-tournament prep. Okay, then there's Peter Woodcock, handicap 7.
Ah, Pete. Ever lively. Another low handicap.
known for his usual Saturday night offsite activities.
Let's put it that way, seeking out bare-knuckle fighting and copious amounts of local ale, according to the profile.
Good grief. And there are even rumors of wanted posters still up from his last performance here in 2013.
That's what it says. Always a hot tip for the big one on Sunday, though, despite everything.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Can Pete finally bring home the bacon despite his extracurriculars?
His rather intense approach to unwinding, yeah. It certainly adds a distinct flavor to Team 1.
Definitely. Who else is on Wheeler's team?
Well, you've got Paul Peacham, handicap 9.
Now, he's a true legend, returning for his 31st tour.
Incredible longevity. Nothing left to prove, really.
And Mark Beard, handicap 10.
Right. Our very own Ginger Topper Harley, as the notes call him, back without his brother Chris this year.
And apparently looking to get some early points against his career whipping boy, Gary Toomey.
Seems to be some history there, yeah. Adds a bit of spice to the matchups.
And talking about distinctive styles, Stuart Williams, handicap 13.
Ah, Stuart, one of the newer additions. Popular Hockley native.
Known for a powerful drive and apparently a Kardashian-like rear end.
That's the quote. And generally seen to be very traditional in his golf outlook. Further right than Enoch Powell is the phrase used specifically about his golf, mind you.
Right, okay. And he carries his own turf to repair his divots, his massive divots.
Prodigious divots, yes. So quite conscientious in that respect. He'll likely be one of Wheeler's more, productive point scorers.
Sounds like it. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Then there's Gary Wood, handicap 18.
Gary Steve Austin Wood, apparently, in search of his 3rd title.
Recently joined Worley Park,
Yeah.
looking to sprinkle some Essex magic on the links.
That's the hope. The question posed in the notes is, can he regain his former glory?
Or is he now content to watch Married at First Sight or some other pointless shit like that?
A very relevant question indeed. Depends on the motivation, I suppose.
Okay, let's shift to some other familiar faces on Team 1. Barry Hudson, handicap 19.
Barry, the Peter Pan of the tour, recently retired.
Enjoying life on the Essex Riviera at his new villa, it says, playing more golf.
Which you'd think would lower his handicap, but
Somewhat surprisingly, it's actually gone up to 42.7.
that's quite a jump. Maybe retirement's too relaxing.
Could be. Then Harry Mole, handicap 17, the lively new addition.
Ah, Molly. Hoping local cab firms are more accommodating this year.
To his demands for 300-mile round-trip vape deliveries, yes.
And hoping he doesn't inadvertently hospitalize a team member again.
Let's hope not. Adds a certain unpredictable element, doesn't he?
Definitely. We also have Dave Rawlings, handicap 27.
Another retired player who seems to be working harder now, mixing muck all day.
Than he ever did in his previous career, apparently. He's likely to be keeping Stewart company over on the right-hand side of the course.
Always good to have company out there. And the big question, will he be taking a post-midnight dip with Woodcock this year?
A recurring theme, perhaps. We also have his brother, Dan Rawlings, also handicap 27.
Often compared to Tiny Ron Taylor of Police Squad fame.
That's right. This lanky former Special Forces operator apparently takes to the fairways with a meticulous lack of preparation.
Always an interesting strategy. And he's a devoted Arsenal supporter. A gooner.
He is, which might make things interesting if he's paired with his Tottenham supporting teammate.
Ah, you mean Steve Wood. Handicap 28, Hands of Stone.
The very same. He's back. And rumor has it there's been extensive practice.
Sightings of a silky short game.
And at least one reported closure of the A127 after one of his legendary errant tee shots.
Oh, dear. Well, hopefully the practice pays off. He's a wine entrepreneur, isn't he?
He is. No doubt he'll be cracking open a bottle of Chateau Lafite while discussing his team's glorious evening in Seville. Or maybe West Ham's Seville trip.
Right. Okay, that's Team 1. Let's move on to Team 2, led by Mark Dawson, handicap 14.
Dawson! And the notes mention some buzz around his selection policy.
Yeah, rumor has it Scotland Yard reopened Operation U-Tree after news spread. Bit of dark humor there.
And a former friend, Paul Gadd, jumped to his defense, saying he just wants them in his gang. He's the leader.
Quite the intro. Let's hope his golf is better than last year's performance.
What happened last year?
Well, on one hole, apparently he took 4 shots just to get past the end of the tee box.
Ouch. Right. So it does make you consider, will his distinct leadership style translate into on-course success this time?
We shall see. Who's he got on his team? Joe Hudson, handicap 5.
Another low handicapper. Silky lefty. And he's firmly left his Princess Diana phase behind.
Apparently so. The Wavy Buffon is gone, replaced by Lot less gay short back and sides. Direct quote from the notes there.
Right, okay. And he hopes to bring his recent Rochford form to Lingfield.
Then there's Toby Coker, handicap 7, Jason lookalike.
So they say. And he has other things on his mind, beyond that infamous fishing trip with Uncle Barry.
Seems like it. Mostly avoiding his mum Sue's constant discussions about his new kitchen.
Understandable pressure. He's a decent golfer, though. Could definitely make a run on Sunday.
If he can avoid the 4 a.m. after party in Molet's room.
That seems to be the key variable, yes.
Okay. Lee Coker, handicap 10, Toby's brother.
That's him, the Strictly fan, looking to rebuild a shockingly poor reputation.
After failing to appear in last year's turkey trot because his mum Sue was waxing his chest.
And preparing his sequined pink spandex outfit to watch the Strictly finals, yes.
Wow. The profile even quotes Windsor Davies. I have never seen such poofery in all my life.
Strong words. Dedication to dance clearly took precedence over golf there.
Clearly. Right, Gary Toomey, handicap 11, soon to be married.
So he might have other things on his mind, too, like, what number of porcelain dolls his brother Mark has acquired for the stag do.
Or what salad dressing he'll be washing his hair in this time.
A running gag, perhaps? And can he get through 2 full days without Carson driving him to distraction?
Always a challenge. But he's playing with his usual consistent form, apparently. Looking good for another runner-up spot in 2025.
The perennial bridesmaid, maybe?
Could be. Now, on a less promising note for Team 2, Harry Peachum, handicap 14.
Ah, Vic's son. Fondly referred to as Blancmange by Toomey, due to his questionable stomach for the fight.
That's the nickname, yeah. But he's actually fired his final shot before even arriving at Lingfield.
Oh no, what happened?
A visit to Southend A&E left him with his left arm in a sling, so he's out.
That's terrible luck. And the notes suggest that even if he had played, it's questionable if he'd have survived 2 rounds without going lame.
Seems harsh, but that's what's written.
Well, this unfortunate development certainly raises questions about, how his absence impacts the team dynamics for Dawson.
Definitely a blow. Okay, who else? Archie Toomey, handicap 12.
Right. Returns looking to add his second jacket in just 3 years. Quite the achievement.
Known as the more sensible Toomey. Stepped manfully into Uncle Steve's shoes.
Showing some golfing ability and supposedly quite restrained off the course, drinking Diet Coke in bed before midnight.
A model tourist. Then there's Frankie Toomey, handicap 16.
Baker's nemesis, apparently, who by some cruel twist of fate finds himself on the opposite team this year.
Hoping to prove he's the self-proclaimed best match player on tour?
That's his claim. Always a willing partner in the bar with Molly, though.
Let's hope Frankie can avoid upsetting the local pikey community this year.
Assuming any are left standing after Pete Woodcock has finished with them, as the notes rather provocatively suggest.
Indeed. Brad Plowman, handicap 22, back after a sabbatical last year.
Right. And if his picture is anything to go by, his brother-in-law, Captain Ratboy.
Mark Dawson, that is.
Right, Dawson. Might want to avoid partnering Brad, the oversized gnome, with Pocky Santa.
John Barry. Yeah, could be a recipe for disaster, it says.
Brad's known for his love of expensive fine wines, though. Expect Steve Wood to try and organize a container of Tignanello for him.
Naturally. Gary Orford, handicap 23.
Gorf
remains the only man on tour who swears by a 7-course taster menu for breakfast every morning.
Dedication to cuisine, if not golf. He brings his usual qualities to the bar.
And his usual lack of qualities to the golf course, apparently, where he once took a record-breaking 10-8 defeat from Chris Beard.
Oof. That's gotta sting. And finally, John Barry, handicap 27.
Pocky Santa, as he was referred to last year. An affectionate nickname, apparently, based on his generosity.
He'll undoubtedly be giving out more Gims than a night at an ABBA concert.
So the note suggests, hopefully he'll come with a tighter belt for his shorts this year, providing his usual mix of humor and gregariousness.
Always good value. Okay, phew, that's the teams covered. But now let's talk about a true tour staple, a beloved figure, Tony Dargis, handicap 28.
Ah, Tony, yes. The comedy legend returns for his 31st tour, same as Paul Peachum. Incredible. He'll be missing his usual sidekick, though, Rodney Robinson.
Yeah, Rodney's playing golf in America this time. But the good news, apparently, is Tony can work through his entire repertoire in the car on the way down without interruption.
Meaning he'll be ready to entertain from the absolute off.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how integral figures like Tony Dargis really are to the very fabric of the Bags Tour.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be the same without him.
While his handicap, a 28, might suggest he's a long shot for the win. His presence, his humor, that unwavering positive energy.
He just lifts everyone, doesn't he?
He truly represents the heart of this society. He really embodies that spirit of camaraderie that seems to define the baboons.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Hmm.
Tony Dargis, always ready with a joke, always adding good humor.
Always.
You might think his contribution is purely off the course, right? Just the social side.
That's the obvious assumption, yeah.
But sometimes, in events like the Baboon Arts Golf Society Tour, the atmosphere, the camaraderie, just the sheer joy a player brings that can actually elevate everyone around them.
That's a really interesting point, since it brings up a crucial question, doesn't it?
Which is?
Does that unwavering, positive attitude, that keen sense of humor, the ability to lighten the mood, does that provide a unique mental edge?
In a tournament where personality clearly plays such a significant role.
Exactly. A player who consistently keeps spirits high, maybe even just his own spirits, perhaps finds an unexpected path to victory.
So connecting this to the bigger picture of, like, amateur sports,
Yeah.
it's about those intangible assets.
Precisely. The kind that don't show up on a scorecard but can profoundly affect collective performance, individual resilience. The whole vibe, really.
You know, you're absolutely right. When you look at the whole picture, Bags, Lingfield, the characters, the traditions, that emphasis on just having a good time together.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a surprise brewing. I'm going to make a call.
Okay. Let's hear it.
My pick to win the Baboon Arts Golf Society Tour 2025 is none other than Tony Dargis.
Tony Dargis.
Yeah.
Handicap 28.
Yes, the comedy legend himself. Why not?
Wow. Okay, that's a truly bold pick. I'll give you that.
You think I'm mad?
No. It's bold, but, it absolutely aligns with the unique spirit of this deep dive into the Baggis tour we've just had.
How so?
Well, it completely challenges the conventional wisdom, doesn't it? Just looking at handicaps. It favors the power of personality, morale, that deep-seated camaraderie we talked about.
So you're saying there's a logic to it within the Baggis universe?
It suggests that in this particular context, maybe the heart of the society, embodied by someone like Tony, might just have the winning touch. It's unconventional, but intriguing.
Oh, we'll see. That was quite the deep dive into the Baboon Arts Golf Society 2025 tournament, wasn't it?
It certainly was. It's clear this is absolutely no ordinary golf event.
No. Filled with remarkable characters, a truly unique spirit. Makes it quite compelling, actually.
Yeah, we've explored the history, the players, the memorable incidents.
And even made a surprising pick for the winner. Maybe a foolish one, but we'll see.
Time will tell. But it shows how, a deep dive into seemingly niche source material like this can reveal so many layers. Humor, personality, even strategic insights, perhaps unconventional ones.
Yeah, it challenges us to look beyond just the obvious numbers, doesn't it?
Exactly. Appreciate the full spectrum of factors at play, especially that human element, which is so strong here.
Totally agree. And on that note, I can't help but leave you with one of Tony Dargis' own jokes from the repertoire.
Oh, go on then. Let's hear it.
Okay, ready. Why can Frenchmen only eat one egg?
I don't know. Why?
Because one is a oof.
Okay, I get it. That's
Classic Tony joke.
yeah.
Simple, effective, always gets a groan.
Definitely fits the character profile.